You're watching the Now Morning Show, the Tobago Thursday edition. So naturally, we're going to check in with CEO of Tobago Performing Arts Company, Jared Primer, as he tells us more about a recent endeavor that is promising many things to be added to our calendar. That's how I'm going to put it for now, Jared. Good morning and welcome to the Now.
Good morning, good morning. I'm going to give a little marketing credit, man.
I'm taking that, by all means. Just because before the break, we were talking about things being in the pipeline as a result of this visit to the National Association of Broadcasting, is it? So that we can, broadcasters rather, yes, so that we can get an idea of living through Tobago vicariously. This endeavor was exciting and could breathe a lot into the calendar events or upcoming events for Tobago and Trinidad. First off, give us a little bit of oversight, if you will, of why Tobago has decided to jump across and partake. What's the benefit to us?
All right, so before I do that, I must start the journey by, of course, recognizing the Trinidad Chamber of Business. They are the ones who really created the initiative for us to go as a contingent and see. Because for me, it was a fact-finding mission. That's what it was. Fact-finding, let's see how best we can connect, let's see how best we can network and see where the world is at in terms of how we are dealing with content, how we're dealing with media, because I mean that's TPAC's business as well. You know, creating content and selling it to the world to big up Tobago, to big up Trinidad and Tobago. And I think it was very successful in that regard. We were able to connect with a number of different entities. I mean, I'm happy to say I had a phone call with Vimeo last week. So, you know, things are happening. You know, so it was a successful trip in the sense of us being able to connect with the world, let the world see who we are. Exchange information, exchange ideas, and really just bring some new, interesting, innovative ideas back so we are prepared for where the world is heading.
I like that. Now it's happening it happened in Vegas, so that has its own sort of energy. But describe to us what the actual setting was. Are we talking about like booths, walking around to conferences or workshops? Tell me a little bit more as to how it was set up.
So I have to again go back to the chamber. The chamber prepared us very well, and we were very delinquent. They said, "We're comfortable, sure." We didn't listen. This broadcasting trade show happened in 3 different locations, pretty close together. And you were walking for almost all of the day because all of the creative broadcasting entities of sound, of lighting, of cameras, you name it, they were all there. WWE wrestling was there. Everyone was there, and you had to really walk quite a lot. And I would say this much, from a perspective where Tobago is also very much into hosting festivals, seeing the logistic layout, just simply in terms of how they use carpet coloring to guide you, because it's a very big space. So you knew where to go because you follow the colors. You had a lovely network of transport. I mean, we were taking around in Teslas. I mean, okay, that was nice. But still, we saw how their transport network was set up for a trade show of this magnitude. And those are the things that we were able to observe and take back as things that we can add to our festival logistic approach.
Right, I can imagine. So that experience on the ground itself, you said it yielded a lot of networking and a lot of interesting relationships or connections that were made. Any of which you want to share a little bit of insight on just yet?
Well, not just yet with the internationals, because we still in talks with a few others. Yeah, I know, I can't spoil it. But I will say the local team, I was very happy to connect. I know TTT also sent a few people as well. We were able to connect and talk about the possibilities of bringing certain types of content, and that is also in discussion. I want to also big up Affordable Imports. That's Conrad, who does all the different rentals for film equipment. And we had a very lengthy discussion about the landscape in Tobago and what it might mean for a company like Affordable Imports to cast its eye on Tobago. He said you have to be good and holding him to that. And I'm very happy for what the future is going to hold with these local and international connections that we've made.
It's interesting that we had to head to Las Vegas to make those connections when we, just next door. But at the end of the
And
day,
that's it.
the fruit of the actual conference is really going to be what we're measuring, not necessarily how it was established in the first place. Now, in terms of the actual attendance of TPAC there, you did kind of touch on it earlier, where it, yes, creates these great linkages, but exposes you to a lot of things that could change the landscape for Tobago and Trinidad. Can we explore that a little more? What have you seen that you could perhaps almost immediately implement that's going to make big impact as a result of this?
Well, almost immediately, we are looking at the way in which content is captured. So we now have a better sense of perspective in terms of how we deliver, because TPAC is getting ready for making itself export ready. And that means internationally being compliant to the required formats, the required song formats, all those different things. And those are things that we can immediately say, okay, now we now need to tell our vendors, okay, you have to shoot in a different format now because we want to make ourselves as openly marketable as possible. We saw the way in which things were done in a more, I want to say, a one-man, but also very immersive type of show. So it's less about the big production companies and more about, okay, we have all these new gadgets and toys that the one creative can now use to advantage. And very simply, that still gives us a chance where we can't perhaps in every show have the biggest budget and have the biggest crew. We now have new interesting ways of capturing, new interesting ways of developing story content. I want to share one little thing that I think is very interesting. Not every big creative can come to Tobago or Trinidad for the lovely vista, the lovely scene. Right. So definitely there is a market for us to begin to capture our lovely flora and fauna in 8K format or higher, and begin to license for games, for shows. People have these LED volumes and you can just put a background of Tobago in the background and they will use it. Of course, license for money. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that there are ways that we from here can still make a revenue by selling our island in different formats.
I'm looking forward to that application, and I'm really looking forward to how this is going to be adapted into other productions, because when we would have spoken, I think it was a little bit earlier this year, we talked about the success of that Residents on the Sea performance, bringing Tobago to the world in many ways, and how you adapted things to accommodate the specifics of that setting. I imagine we'll see evolutions of that performance and others. Tell me what we can expect in terms of the calendar of events that you will share with us. Where we'll see the
yeah, because everything that's secret.
I'm really going to continue to beg to find out.
Well, I will say this much. That way residences at sea, we're not finished with that as yet. And what we're happy with now is that we are going to employ some of these tactics and approaches that we saw outside to capture it on screen. Mm-hmm. So for those of us who can't be there live, they'll be able to see it as part of a different kind of package. Okay. We are talking about connecting with the Caribbean Film Festival that's coming up in June. We just recently finished a project with UNICEF and the Division of Education. So we have a music video that's going to be real hot, that's going to drop on the airwaves very soon, where we're encouraging kids to be more responsible and be more positive online, where we ball out the cyberbullying. So we have that, and of course, a nice little short film that tells the story of us being really responsible. And as parents as well, we have to look over our children online. So we have a few things that are in the pipeline. Those are the more immediate things. Mm-hmm. I must mention Heritage coming up. You have to come to Tobago, and TPAC's Creative Calabash Camp for the kids, and they had a ball last year. We're going to have a bigger camp experience this year. So those are the things I can share. A few things inside I can't tell you yet, but those are the things I can share.
All right. I'm pretty sure we'll talk before some of those events, and you might tell me more, so I'll be patient. Heritage is a big one to look forward to. And as you rightfully say, we need to get over to Tobago. So to make sure that we keep that link connected, how do we connect with you? Remind the people of how we can connect with TPAC.
So definitely, we are on the social platforms. Excuse me. So on Facebook, on Instagram, type in Tobago Performing Arts, and you will find us there. We are also on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is where you may see a lot more of our extended articles that show you what we are trying to do in terms of making international linkages and connections. Mm-hmm. But for vibes, for sure, we're on Instagram. We're seeing the fun that our staff are having with the kids, with the public, as we do our work in promoting arts and culture of Tobago.
Jared, continue to do exactly that, and we will continue to check in with you. And until then, you have a great day. Thanks for joining us on the NAB.
You as well. Thank you.
Jared Primer, the CEO of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, giving us a little update onto what they've been up to and things we could look forward to. Now, granted that you guys are, on the stage as thespians and doing